Marty Supreme, it's Marty Supreme, it's Marty Supreme.
Flex, now I'm flexing. Got Cam Corp and I check him. Got model bitches and peck 'em. I'm Ryan Reynolds and Wrexham. I'm having fun, just sexting. My dick is young and rest.
It's Film Friday, and I know I said that you wouldn't see me until next year, but I had to come back and do a very special Christmas episode because Marty Supreme's in theaters, Dave Chappelle has a new special, and Hollywood is in shambles. So let's get into it.
Mauser.
Let's have a little fun with this one.
Okay.
Have a little fun, right?
Gotcha.
Service switches to Kletzer.
I would also like to say that there are a lot of white people on this shirt. There's some niggas on the back somewhere, though, okay? I just wanted to put that out there. Now, Marty Supreme just hit theaters today on Christmas Day, and the hype around this movie has been nothing short of phenomenal. We haven't seen this kind of hype around a movie since Sinners. So let's get into the specifics first, and then let's dissect this marketing machine that Timothée Chalamet has so brilliantly created to push this film. So first things first, Marty Supreme is being brought to us by the wonderful and never failing A24. I mean, gosh, you gotta love A24 as a creative. I mean, they are taking chances on all of the scripts. A lot of the white scripts, but at least they're doing a lot of original films, win, lose, or draw, right? I think they're going to win with Marty. So it's being produced by A24. It's being directed by Josh Safdie. Now, we know Josh Safdie from Uncut Gems. He directed that with his brother. That one was starring Adam Sandler. I believe he's a Jewish man. Adam Sandler's a Jewish man. Timothée Chalamet is a Jewish man. And Marty is the Jew of all Jews. This movie has one of those characters that... This is a very memorable character. He is an asshole. And it's conflicting to watch because you don't know whether you love this guy and you want to steal pieces of his personality, or you can't stand this person and you want to root for him to lose. It's just like you see the humanity in him at certain times, and then you feel like this guy deserves everything terrible that's about to happen to him, right? Timothée Chalamet acted his ass off. Let's just go ahead and cut the bullshit. Everybody that was in this movie acted their ass off, including Tyler Okinawa. I don't know. Sounds like it's Japanese, but he's Nigerian. Okinawa. Tyler, the creator. He is in this. He's absolutely brilliant in it. I don't want to give anything away because usually when I do these reviews, I'm reviewing trailers that I haven't seen yet that are coming out. But I rushed to the theater to see this because of all the hype with the Marty Supreme clothing line. Let's get into that real quick. So yeah, I think that it's worth the hype. And I think that Timothée did a great job of marketing this through the Marty Supreme clothing drop.
You know how genius or generational your marketing has to be to make a movie about ping pong seem like the coolest fucking thing in the world? Yes, a movie about fucking ping pong. This has been just one of the long list of dopest fucking things they've ever done when it comes to this marketing for Marty Supreme. Doing an IG live where you drop your merch, where your cinematographer has won Oscars. Doing blimps. Like, blimps. Timothée Chalamet going on talk shows surrounded by people wearing ping pongs on their heads. Cannot tell me this is not one of the toughest images you've ever seen. Having celebrities, the highest celebrities in the world, wearing your merch about a ping pong player.
He had Kendall Jenner running around in Marty Supreme, Kris Jenner, different celebrities. I think Tom Brady was in it. And he did a pop-up shop somewhere out in Brooklyn. If you didn't get it there, you can't get it. You can get it online for resale, but it's basically like some sweatsuits with Marty Supreme on it. He put a lot of work into marketing for this. The clothing sold out. I saw kids outside of the Marty Supreme poster outside the movie theater taking pictures. They did not have on Marty Supreme sweatshirts, but they had on the sweatshirts that looked like them. They were like Columbia's, but they didn't have the Marty Supreme on the front. So it was like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but hey, go off. He created a movement is what he did, which is very smart. And for it to be Christmas and this not to be an Avatar Marvel type film, the theater was pretty full. My whole row was full, which I hate. I thought I would have 2 empty seats next to me, but they were full. And I'm glad that they sold out, but I hate that. So that's all for Marty Supreme. Let's get into this week's pick for Stream Queen.
Sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this like a lion. Thank you very much. Please, everybody, have a seat. Be comfortable. We got a lot to talk about.
Dave Chappelle is back. And just when you thought that he had simmered down, he came back bolder, crazier, smarter, and funnier than ever before. I mean, he got in so much trouble for the transgender jokes. And in his new special, Unstoppable Nigger, don't forget the nigger part, Hardy R. They just say Unstoppable on Netflix, but at the end, you'll see it says Unstoppable Nigger. He doubled down on the trans jokes in the craziest way. And I thought about it. I'm like, ooh, they're going to get him. But then I thought, there's hundreds of thousands of trans people in the world. There's only one Dave Chappelle. I mean, you know, let him rock. Let him rock. The special was really funny. It was really smart. Really smart. Like, I remember Dave Chappelle. I mean, everybody's acted like Dave Chappelle's always been this comedic genius. And what I loved about this special is that it finally explained for me how he made the transition from the kind of comic he was when he started to the kind of comic that he is now. Because he talked a lot about his mentor, Charlie Barnett. I had to look this guy up because I had never heard of him. But once I looked him up on YouTube and I saw his stand-up and I saw some of the films that he did, I did a deep dive into Charlie Barnett. I said, that's how Dave Chappelle used to be. That's how his comedy used to be. Now he's made this whole arc into more of like a Lenny Bruce, if you know anything about comedy. Just very smart, grounded, political storytelling comedy, which is a far cry from where he started. But it makes sense, being that Charlie Barnett was his mentor. But, you know, I kind of think about Dave Chappelle in the early days as that comedian Reggie that he played in Nutty Professor. And wasn't really funny to me. But he's extremely funny to me now. And I absolutely adored it. So Unstoppable Nigger is now streaming on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, give it a watch. I've seen it twice. It's worth it. That's all for Stream Queen. Let's get into Studio Shade. Now, this week in Studio Shade, we're all about the hostile Warner Brothers takeover, right? And the bidding war that is ensuing because of it. And now, it's hard to break down exactly what's going on. So I've enlisted some help from TikTok to do just that.
December 5th, 2025 is one of the most impactful days in the history of cinema and very likely the death of movies as we know them. Because I'm sure you've seen the news by now that Netflix is officially in line to acquire Warner Brothers for $82.7 billion, which of course includes the HBO library and its streaming service that has gone through a dozen rebrands and is going to be doing it one more time to Netflix. But it's okay, because even if HBO is incompetent when it comes to streaming, you can trust someone like Netflix who spends $320 million to make the electric state. This is really bleak because the current Netflix CEO, Ted Sarandos, time and time again has made comments about how much he dislikes the current movie theater model, thinking that Netflix is the savior of Hollywood as opposed to destroying Hollywood. Talks about how the state of the industry shows that people would rather watch movies at home than go out to the movie theater, which probably is true for the general population, but a large reason for that is Netflix changing the game, so they are the reason people don't want to go to movie theaters anymore. Now, this should be setting off everyone's monopoly alarm bells. The #1 streaming service owning the #3 streaming service, basically making a streaming monopoly in one mega corporation. But also on the theatrical side, side of things, you now have one less major studio player in the yearly movie release cycle in movie theaters that is going to be nearly impossible to swallow for the movie theater industry as a whole. And when you think about how often Netflix has been increasing their monthly subscription price, it's only going to keep soaring through the roof now that they've acquired another streaming service to eliminate some competition. HBO Max was setting a lower price point, so now Netflix doesn't have them to compete with, and they just spent a cool $82 billion that they're going to have to recoup somehow. And put aside the massive problem that is a streaming service monopoly, this is terrible news for movie theaters and for physical media. Both Netflix and Apple really don't release movies on physical media anymore. They can just wipe things off the platform. You can never see them again. Now, Netflix says that Warner Brothers movies are going to remain in theaters, but eventually will move to a much more consumer-friendly model. What I think this will be is that limited theatrical releases, 2 weeks, then it's on Netflix, with the eventual end goal of having day and date release that it drops on Netflix and theaters the same day, and the ultimate final goal of removing theatrical releases as a whole. Now, for years, the rumor mill has been talking about Apple potentially buying Disney, and at the time they said that this would have to be in order to compete with Netflix, but now that Netflix has acquired Warner Brothers and HBO Max, this seems like it might be a much more likely outcome than before. Now, Paramount and NBC Universal were also in talks to acquire Warner Brothers. Paramount losing to Netflix is probably the lesser of two evils, with Netflix winning there. NBC Universal probably would have been the preferred option of the three, but still, Universal and Warner Brothers merging, that's a lot of monopoly alarm bells as well. There was no great option here other than Warner Bros. Trying to keep their upward trajectory and get their business on track. At this point, the only way this is going to get stopped is likely the Department of Justice antitrust chief Gail Slater stepping in and breaking up this merger. Senator Elizabeth Warren has also already spoken up and talked about this monopolistic acquisition and the problems that will cause, and also her distrust of the Trump administration to do anything to block it. And for those curious, this is a major acquisition. This is not going to happen overnight. About 12 to 18 months is what they've lined out for the timeline for closing this deal. So things could change and people could step in and block this, but that's a real glass half full outlook on the situation. Speaking of glass half full approaches, I think if Netflix sticks to their word and says they're going to honor Warner Bros. Movies going onto Blu-ray and DVD, and they're still going to honor the theatrical window and be supportive of movie theaters as a whole, this could end up being okay. And we've seen positive signs of collaboration between Netflix and movie theaters, with K-pop Demon Hunters doing very well when they released that theatrically, and Netflix releasing the Stranger Things series finale in over 500 different movie theaters. But I'm definitely approaching this from a glass half empty perspective. Ted Sarandos and Netflix says that they're going to be very consumer friendly with this. This is the same guy in the same company that cracks down on password sharing like crazy, cancels people's favorite shows and doesn't renew them for new seasons even when there's a huge fan base. Like, I just really doubt they're really in this for the consumer, not just in this for their stock prices.
Makes sense. Now, what I feel about this is that Netflix should absolutely not get Warner Brothers. Only because, Netflix is doing a lot of great things. They're buying up all the podcasts. They've got a lot of great streaming shows. They're doing a lot of original films, but Netflix does not care about the movie theater. And while if Skydance Paramount gets Warner Brothers, then it's going to feel real monopoly-ish, because all of the studios are collapsing into themselves because they're not taking a chance on original films, and they're definitely not giving niggas chances, so it's all imploding. But if it gets in the hands of Netflix, you're going to see a lot of short theatrical releases. I think they're going to pretty much put AMC and Cinemark out of business because, again, they're made for streaming to home. So that pressure to put things in theaters is not going to be there. This on top of the fact that we just got the news that the Oscars are going to be broadcasting live from YouTube starting in 2029. Couple that with the fact that SAG and IATSE, which is the crew, the union for crews, all the people behind the scenes that run the cameras, lights, and all that shit, are going to be striking in 2026. And you can pretty much say that Hollywood is on fire right now. And if you're a creative, who knows what you're going to do? I know what I'm going to do. Meet me at the theaters, guys. January 15th and 25th for Mama, I Burnt the Chicken. I'm coming to you live with a great 20-minute show. That's a part of the 30 Minute or Less Festival. That's going to be at the Stephanie Fury Theater on famous Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles. So I'll see you guys in the theaters until we get all this Hollywood shit figured out, because between the bidding war and the strikes, the jobs are going to be not there. So that's that. That's all for Studio Shade. Best of luck in that bidding war. I hope it goes to Paramount, only because I don't want to see theaters close. But that's all for Studio Shade. Let's get into the red carpet rundown. So this being the last week of the year, I thought it would be fitting to do a look back on the best red carpet moments of 2025. We're talking Met Gala looks. We're talking some of the best premiere looks that we saw all year. And we are doing this courtesy of Vogue. But per usual, I'm going to let the sound effects do the talking.
Said what I said, and
always.
I'm not changing on it, okay? I said what I said. It ain't changing over here.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Sure enough. Don't fuck with me, fellas. This ain't my first time at the rodeo.
Love that red and pink look. I mean, I feel like couture is coutouring like it's never coutured before. Couture used to be the thing that was on the runway. It was an art piece. It was a statement. But you didn't see people rocking couture like they do now and making it look so good and so wearable. It's like we're in a fashion renaissance right now when it comes to couture wear, which I absolutely adore. That's a wrap for this year in film news. I want to thank you for always rocking with me. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this with a friend that loves film as much as you do. But until then, I'm going to go fix my sign. I'll be back next year. And this has been Film News You Can Use.